I was scrolling through LinkedIn like the desperate broke animator I am, and I came across this post about cheap and free alternatives to, the Adobe Suite. And, I can't, there was a few that I've used already, like DaVinci Resolve and Clip Studio, but I came across this one beautiful piece of software called OpenToonz. Which is entirely free and open source piece of software that animated one of my favorite films, Mary and the Witch's Flower. So I thought I'd, I'm not sponsored, just want to clarify that, but I thought I'd give it a little doodle and then see what we think of it, and maybe see whether or not I can find another piece of software that's free that I don't have to mortgage out both my own and somebody else's liver for. And, as always, there's very little script, but I'm actually trying with the bullet points. So we're, they're a little bit less ambiguous and a little bit more in depth, hopefully. So I thought I'd kind of let's start with like the animation itself and how that kind of feels. I thought I would do like a freehand, no sketch, little doodle of an animation. And I thought I would do it of Mary from Mary and the Witch's Flower, since that film is what I think of when I think of this piece of software. I just kind of like to have some fun. There are definitely a lot of glaring issues with the animation itself, such as her hair not being proportionally the same throughout the entire thing. But overall, it was a lot of fun, I like doing like a messy kind of animation for when I'm trying to figure out whether or not I like a piece of software. And I think this served its purpose. I definitely got to feel out the software a lot with this. The brushes were pretty nice, to be honest, considering that these are the base brushes as well. The feel of the software is pretty smooth. Again, going back to the brushes, they didn't take much of like fiddling with for them to actually be comfortable, which is really surprising considering that they are the base brushes. The UI overall is pretty similar to a lot of other software. The timeline is very reminiscent of like this weird combination between Clip Studio, TV Paint, and Toon Boom, which is really quite strange to me. It doesn't really, like, the overall UI doesn't really do much for me. Like, it doesn't really get my favor. It kind of reminds me a lot more of Toon Boom with like the coloring system and the different modes, but the modes in like the different like layouts of the page, like when you go to a different mode, in Toon Boom they make sense because you're going to a completely different thing. In here, a lot of them feel like it's just a different template of the same thing. And whilst I think that's kind of okay when you first get a piece of software, I don't like it. It's a little bit questionable. It makes you wonder, is that really like a useful spending of that space, So yeah, but that's, that's kind of just my opinion on it. One point that it does get from me is the fact that you can composite in it and it can do node-based as well as rigged animation, which is really cool. But the point that it then also loses again is the fact that I couldn't get the nodes to actually link to each other whatsoever like they did in the tutorial, considering that you just pretty much click and drag from, the little dot on it onto the other little dot, and then those two nodes are touching each other. Which is definitely a very promiscuous way of saying that the nodes are connected. But I don't know if it's a situation where you have to download something in order to fix it, because the thing that I discovered that OpenToonz does have is that its base encoder is FFmpeg, which is a really weird encoder that I'm not gonna lie to you, before this software I'd never heard of. The thing is, it doesn't have it pre-built in. OpenToonz is a open source and, free piece of software. It's gonna have its kinks. It's just very concerning about the fact that it doesn't have its own encoder built into it, considering that it doesn't want it. That's the only encoder it wants to work with. So I don't really know what to do about that point, which is why I don't know whether or not the node thing was a problem with me, a problem with the software, or a problem that could be fixed by simply downloading something. Because the encoder can quite simply be fixed by downloading the encoder. Overall, it's very versatile. Again, I would highly recommend this as if you are new to animation and you just kind of want to feel your way through it, maybe practice animation. I'd definitely go for this, considering that if you're just starting out, you don't want to spend money on a piece of expensive software. Don't do that. Don't do that whatsoever. But for me as an individual, I'm looking for software that meets certain needs, such as having like those elements of 2D rigging and node-based animation, because I'm not experienced enough with them for me to feel comfortable doing them at a professional level. Whilst it has those things built, like somewhat built in, it's not built in a way that at the moment at the base of it does work. It might just be the version that I downloaded. That could very much be the issue. But I think this would need a lot more learning. I'm mostly looking for a piece of software that I can go into and just kind of have at it with, you know, like, rather than how to add an encoder. And I already struggle with downloading Minecraft mods, okay? We don't need to go through into the technical side of this. But overall, that I think a fair amount of it might just be me. I would still say that this is a very good piece of software. I just don't think it quite suits my personal needs. And we've already, oh god, it's happened again. I wrote a longer script this time being like, oh, you know, we won't, we won't have to talk for like 10 more minutes. Anyway, okay, I can ramble for a bit longer. Since I've got like a minute or two to kind of try and fill up with words and noise and space, I thought I'd kind of briefly bring up the fact that I'm kind of gonna try and post a little bit more regularly on here, because at the end of the day, trying to find an industry job at the minute, it's not looking so great, and I need something to keep me busy, because I don't like having nothing to work on. I like having a project, and I thought, hey, you know, what can I do that might, you know, help me as a small artist and somewhat a small business, considering that I do, you know, sell like stickers, and at some point I want to try and sell my comics. So I thought, you know, let's maybe go down this route. I've been experimenting a little bit on Instagram to try and see what the algorithm likes as well as what people like, and I'm starting to narrow it down, such as on YouTube. People don't really want to watch videos that are under 10 minutes, which I totally understand. So, you know, get ready for a few more videos that are maybe going to probably be about the same length as this one. And yeah, let me know what you think of like the video quality, because I'm trying to do scripts. I'm not really much of a script person, and so far the couple of times that I've done scripts, I have run out of script and I've still got video to go through. And you know, let's see where this goes, because you know, it might be fun. At very least it gives me something to do, and maybe I can make a cool animation or two that I can put in my show reel. You know, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah. What do you think of the compositing? Not the compositing, the color grading. Because when I do like these bits, it doesn't look so great when it's just, you know, a recording on my phone. So I've been trying to learn how to color grade of like the past like year. I think it's gone a long way, but I'm trying to get rid of like that weird yellow hue that my videos had for a while. So I don't know if this is going too close to like a cold hue. I don't think it's cold, but I'm trying to get that balance, because you know me, you know that I love like that green and orange color scheme. So I'm trying to just, you know, color grade in a way that still emulates that without it being ugly or rudimentary. So, you know, if you've got any, I'm using DaVinci Resolve, by the way, another piece of free software, because screw Adobe. And it's a good alternative if you don't want to pay, because it has a free version. It does have a version that you can buy. But realistically, everything that I need is in the free version, so like, whatever, man. And the color grading tools in it are, they're really good. I'm still learning, but you know, if you have any tips, you know, tricks, feel free to, you know, give any feedback. Because yeah, the industry is not looking so great at the minute. Trying to find like junior or internship level positions, just entry level positions in the animation industry, it's not going great. They're hiring a lot of seniors. I mean, you know, you can look at other people's content for that. You know, the people have more experience than I do. But it's like the worst time to graduate, dude. So yeah, Overall, with the animation, I'm pretty content with how it came out. I am kind of mad that I didn't do like a very rudimentary sketch under it, because that way the hair would stay the same proportion throughout. But overall, I still quite like how it came out. I've been spoiled a lot because I do all of my animation for at least here. Unless, you know, I'm collaborating with someone like I have been, then I'll do it in like a different software that they're using. I've been kind of spoiled by Clip Studio because I can composite kind of everything in there, at least the way that I do, because I finish my animations in there with just like animating a glow dodge layer, and such and such. And I ended up being humbled with OpenToonz a little bit because I actually had to composite everything in DaVinci because, as I brought up earlier, it doesn't have the FFmpeg encoder built in, so it exported as an image sequence, which it's not fun. It's not fun. I had to reorder all of the frames and retime it all in DaVinci Resolve to get it in to be like an animation again. And then I had to, because I wanted to actually finish it a little bit, I had to add the lighting in through DaVinci as well, and I haven't actually done that before. I've done it a little bit in like After Effects whilst I was at uni, but not much in any other software, so trying to figure that out was interesting. But overall, I quite like how it came out, and I've rambled for a little while, and I'm gonna kind of call it there because I don't really know what I'm doing. Also, cough cough, if you like this silly little channel and me rambling about nonsense, because let's be honest with ourselves, I don't really know what I'm doing either. You know, perhaps consider checking me out on Patreon and seeing some secret stuff that I do over there, because I don't post a lot of the work that I'm fiddling with at the minute. Or, you know, if you want to help support my webcomic series, The Raven Who Dared to Wonder, consider, you know, maybe buying one of my silly little swearing crow stickers on Etsy. Because I need to buy food. And, you know, as always, thank you to my few Patreons, and I hope that you enjoyed this animation and have a lovely rest of your day. Okay, goodbye.